Hey guys, Sonic Abby here. Um, I want to talk about something that happened a year ago today. Um, and there's a lot I want to say, but I don't know in what order I want to say it, how I want to say it. Um, but 1 year ago was the hardest day of my entire life. And um, what happened that day was the shooting at my high school that I graduated from. And shootings need to stop. Like, everything we went through, the pain we felt, I wouldn't wish that pain on anybody. Because it's rough. It's very hard to deal with. So I guess I'll kind of tell my story about what happened that day. I woke up around 11:30, and at the time my mom was getting ready for work, and she turned on the TV. And usually at 11:30 in the morning, the show called The Doctors is on, but instead it was a news broadcast. And my mom knocks on the door, and she's like, "There's been a shooting at the high school." I'm like, what? Like, I didn't believe it. Like, I was hearing it, but I don't know. So I go into the living room and I start watching TV, and I still didn't believe it. Like, it didn't process with me. It didn't hit me. But um, I called up people, made sure they're okay. I looked through Facebook. I made sure my cousin was okay. She was physically, emotionally very shaken up, as everybody else was. And um, around noon, everybody in the house is up and watch the news. And then we only live like 2 miles, mile and a half from the hospital. And we got to see one of the helicopters leaving the hospital. So um, so I was watching the news and I wasn't believing it. Like, when I was looking at the TV, this could have been. I reacted to it almost the same way I would to something happening anywhere else in the world. You know, just I didn't believe it. I didn't process it. So I go back to bed for a little while. Now I'm just like tossing and turning, have the hardest time getting back to sleep. And then I get up at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, get ready, and I go to work. And I remember walking into work, and everybody is just in shock and feeling hopeless. And the store sounded so quiet. Like, everybody was so quiet. And, I get to work, and I remember the exact moment that it hit me. I was zoning the Barbie doll aisle, which zoning means, pretty much organizing, putting stuff where it belongs, making it look pretty. I was zoning the Barbie doll aisle. And we have these shelves, these basket shelves, that are just baskets of toys and whatnot. We use them for, like, smaller toys that don't easily stand up on a shelf or whatever. And I was organizing these baskets, and they had little Disney princesses in them. And I was right there organizing that section. And I was just hearing it over and over and over again in my head that, there was a shooting at the high school, like the school I graduated from, just like hearing that over and over and over again. And I just started crying. Like, those were probably the first tears that I shed that day. Like, when it finally hit me. Was at work. In the Barbie doll aisle. With the Disney princesses. And I remember just walking to a more secluded area, and just crying. And then a little later on, I go to my 15-minute break, and they're talking about it on the news. Like, that was all they were talking about on the news. And I was crying then. Then whenever I was going to my lunch break, the 6 o'clock news was wrapping up. It was almost 6:30. And I just sat in the lunchroom, break room, and just laid my head down and cried for a few minutes. It was really hard. And then I get home that night, and my mom had recorded the nightly news, like the big nightly news with like Lester Holt or whoever it is. And they talked about it on there. And just seeing your school on that national news is shocking and heartbreaking, and just you just don't know what to say. What can you say when you're so upset when something this horrible happens? And I remember just thinking, like, that day and the days following, I just remember thinking, how am I going to process this? How does one get through this? Because I didn't know. All I could do was just take it a day by day and cry when I needed to cry, and I'm probably going to cry now. And I don't cry every time that it's talked about. I don't cry all the time. But it does bother me sometimes. A couple months after the shooting, there was this one episode of, I think it was Chicago Med, about a mass shooting, and it bothered me so bad. It bothered me so bad. I could not watch it. I could not watch it. And there were so many others in the community that couldn't watch it. It's just so bothersome. 1 year later, my community has come together. My community has become so much stronger, so much more loving. My cousin that was there that day, when I see her, I tell her I love her, I hug her. I tell my family I love them. Because you just have to let people know you love them. Because you'll never know if you'll ever get that chance again. And whenever I argue with my family, which isn't a lot, but when I do, I always feel bad about it. Whenever I argue with my family, I always apologize after I've had time to cool off, because I don't want their last memory of me to be a fight. Because you just never know when it's gonna end. I have learned to appreciate people. You know, I'm making an attempt to get to know people. Which, as someone with social anxiety, is very hard. But I don't want to spend my whole life being antisocial and afraid to get out there and make friends. You know, if I get old, I want to remember life and be like, hey, remember that one time when you hung out with so-and-so? You know? You know, there was a time when my definition of a good time was just watching videos on YouTube, which sometimes it is, but I've learned recently that a good time is being around friends, being around people who care about you, being around people who love you, and you love them. Yeah, I'm learning to see beauty in things. You know, beautiful sunrises, beautiful sunsets, just everything. And I'm making a point to make the best out of my life. Even in the little simplest things. Like, a month or so ago, my mom found a frog at work that was practically on death's door. Practically on death's door. And she brought it home to me so it wouldn't die. And right now she's thriving. And her name is Rosie. Rosie the Ribbiter. And, you know, to some people it's just a little animal. To some people it's insignificant. It's nothing. But to me it means everything, giving her a chance. You know, it makes me feel like I matter. I've kind of gone away from what I want to say here, I'm sorry. But even though that was the darkest day of my life, we have been shown so much love. We were shown so much love then, we're shown so much love now. Like, just people coming together. We're seeing like Marshall Strong signs everywhere, and We Are Marshall everywhere, and everybody is wearing orange and blue, and I'm rocking my Marshall Strong today. And I got a few bracelets here, these two. the rubber band one or silicone, whatever it is. It's faded now because I've had it for a long time, but it says Pray for Marshall and Marshall County Strong. And then the other one right here is just a beaded one that I got online that I found really pretty and fitting. And then that's just a ponytail, survivor, abuse, survivor, and that's just one I found at Walmart. But 1 year later, it's rough, but we're doing okay. We're doing okay. We're a tight-knit community, and we love each other, and the kids and teachers at that school are tough as nails. Those are some pretty brave kids out there. Coping. How did I cope with it? I still don't really have an answer to that. Like, I'm still not sure how I coped with it. Like, how I was able to process it and get through it. I guess, I can say is I took it day by day. You know, the first days, I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't want to go to work. I just wanted to be in bed all day. And on top of that, I had a beloved coworker who was like a grandmother to me to pass away, which was super hard. Because, like, she was one of my first friends whenever I started working at Walmart. And I would do things that keep my mind off of it. I would color, I would cross stitch, I would watch cartoons, I would watch classic Batman. You know, just things to ease your mind, really. And probably one of the biggest things that got us through was 8 or 9 days after the shooting happened. We had some kittens born, and they were our therapy babies. Like, they were our everything. They motivated us to get out of bed, to strive every day, because we wanted to watch them grow up. We wanted to watch them achieve their little milestones, like opening their eyes and walking and eating cat food and just becoming the most affectionate cats you'll ever meet. And sadly, the only one we have left is Phoenix. He's timid, but he's a sweetheart, and it's almost his first birthday. But better believe Phoenix is loved. And, like, the other thing, the biggest thing that got us through was our faith in the Lord. My faith in the Lord. Like, I like to feel like those kittens, the Lord blessed us with those kittens at the perfect time. Like God was showing us comfort through those beautiful little kittens. And you've seen a few of them in videos before. You've seen Jake and Bailey. And Bailey was my baby. Bailey was my beautiful girl. And I named her after Bailey, who passed away in the shooting. But my faith has definitely gotten me through it. Like, I would start crying and I would listen to Chainbreaker or Fear's a Liar by Zach Williams, and just it's comforting. Oh, sorry, I'm looking at my frog. She's got an itchy on her belly. She's scratch your belly or something. I'm sorry. But there's a verse or something that went around that time that the light will overcome the darkness. Like the darkness will never overcome the light, and that is true. Like there's tough days, but then there's good days. Like there's always gonna be that darkness, but there's always gonna be that light at the end of it. Like everything's gonna be okay. Like hurt doesn't necessarily stop, but with time it does get a lot better. So like there's not a day that goes by that I don't think about that day. But even though I think about it, I'm not sad every single day. Because you can't let one bad thing ruin the good things. Like, you can't let one bad day ruin a whole year. And, like, 2018 was not a great year. Because there was a shooting and I lost celebrities that I really cared about. And I had a couple of really bad mental breakdowns. I really don't know if I should go into detail about that or not, but no. I don't think I'll go into detail about it there, but I did have some bad mental health days in 2018. But I'm doing a lot better. I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. And even though there was a lot of bad things in 2018, it doesn't make it a bad year. Because good things happen too, you know. Yeah, those beautiful kittens born. I got my guppies, which you can probably hear the water running. You know, there's some good things about it too. It doesn't have to be big things; it can be little things. Also, in 2018, got to go to a couple of church events. I got to go to a church retreat for a weekend, and that was amazing. There's a video or a picture of our group that went. I'm right here holding my notebook and my Bible. So it was really good to go to that retreat and just get refreshed in the Lord. Like, I'm nowhere near the best Christian. I'm actually, I'm kind of a crummy. I've been a crummy Christian lately. I'll admit that. But I still rely on God. And I'm working to be a better person. So, I think that's all I want to say. I mean, I'm sure there's more. Like, I could go on for a long time, but we're getting close to half an hour here. But, keep us in your thoughts or prayers these following days. Keep Bailey and Preston in your memory. They were the kids who died that day. And pray for their families because they're having a tough time. hold your loved ones close tonight and tell them that you love them. Tell them you appreciate them because you don't know. You just don't know when the time will come. Thanks for listening to me ramble and cry and just letting me clear my head a little bit. You know, I may not post often, but I like having this place to go to and just like talk and you know, I don't care if anybody watches it all. I mean, if you do, you know, thanks. But if you don't, you know, it is what it is. You know, I don't care if I have a ton of subscribers or not, but the subscribers I do have, I really appreciate y'all. So, thanks for watching and subscribing.